Clash Royale.
Welcome everybody to the first day of SKT versus Afreeca at the Grand Postseason Playoffs here at Pro League. It's going to be a great day. I'm Valdez. Joining me today is Wolf. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. SK Telecom T1 still stands in third place, just over the Afreeca Freaks at 222 points. The Freaks here, they are 147, so you can see the difference between third and fourth is huge because SKT was so dominant in rounds 1 and 2. But in round 3, they had their second worst round in their history of Starcraft 2. The only worst time was when they played in 2013, where the EGTL season, that was their worst. They got 8th place there. This time they were 1 indicator point away from 8th, which would have tied their worst, but they have had better days, that is for sure here, and I still think they are the favorites going into this series, but the Freaks could definitely upset. This is their best opportunity. Yeah,
I mean, when you just take a look at the team names, it's like, okay, SK Telecom, right? This team over the Afreeca Freaks, which is a new team. Obviously, it was formed before the Freaks. You know, some players from StarTale, also Spenu afterwards. And when you just take a look at the teams, you're like, okay, SKT should take this, but they're kind of wounded, they're hurt, they're not as good as they used to be, not as dominant. Are their players going to show up for this? Are they going to show up tonight and get off to a good start here, or is Afreeca going to make it interesting? That's the big story.
That is the story. Now, guys, just to remind everyone, because I know this happens only once a year, we do have this in a best-of-3 format. So today will be the regular format that you guys are used to. Then tomorrow will be the all-kill format, which you're used to if you watch the round finals. And then on Tuesday, if it is a 1-1, we will go back to the regular format for the third and final ace match, if you will, in the best-of-3. So this is the first day. You get a lot of momentum. You go into match point, and if you win, you advance to play off against KT Rolster. Now, the team lineups, too, when we have this, is a best-of-7, not a best-of-5.
Yeah.
So it's extended. So you see players that you don't normally actually end up seeing in the regular season. Zone, for example, is playing tonight. Symbol as well.
We're going to take a look at some stats here as well. SK Telecom, you can see they're 5-2 over the Afreeca Freaks. They have not played in the postseason just yet. They have not played in that all-kill format. If you're taking a look at the teams here, as you were saying, the different kind of setups that we have for each day, it's kind of like a different skill that you need from your players. Do you have that one dominant guy that has a lot of stamina that can play? Then you're going to be good in the all-kill format. Or do you have a really deep lineup, a really deep bench? Then you're going to be better in the first and third days.
Most important data here is, I mean, it shows their results in the rounds. The third round, actually, Dark was defeated by Alive, and will actually play against Alive again today. So that's a really exciting kind of rematch situation there, and that was kind of one of the tipping points that allowed the Freaks to defeat SKT in round 3. Here's map data. Map data is often indicative of who plays which maps, but overall SKT has the better map data because they have the better players in rounds 1 and 2. Here's the lineups. We see Zone is going to play off against Super. Symbol, we have not seen this player in so long.
Oh, yeah.
And he's going to ZVZ a player we haven't seen very long either in Sue on New Gettysburg.
It's crazy because you're playing, instead of 4 players, you have to play 6. So it's like your bottom 2 that don't generally see all that much play are coming out tonight. And for the Freaks, that was Symbol and Bomber. They're coming out on maps 5 and 6. And for SKT, it was Zone and Dream. Generally, we were seeing a lot of classic innovation, Dark Sue, or Dark Dream coming out. But SKT, they have to dig deep into their lineup and play some of those other players. So it's going to be really fun to see. Super's PvP is fantastic. I'm really favoring him against Zone. And Sue's ZVZ is actually really good as well. So Symbol and Zone probably going to have a bit of a rough time today.
Definitely going to be tough. New Gettysburg as well, a map that really lends towards Sue's style in the matchup because he likes to be aggressive, go for early timing attacks. Both Dream and Dark fell out of the GSL recently in 2 big upsets. Dream losing the TBT to Ryung, and then of course Dark losing to SOS in that final match. It's a tough time to be an SKT fan. Classic, though, he is a 2-time champion against Curious, who won a DreamHack but has never gone very far in individual leagues. But I feel Curious basically carried this team on his back towards the end of round 3 to get them here in the first place.
Yeah, Classic up against Curious is going to be our first matchup here, a PVC that is going to be on Overgrowth. Let's take a look at some predictions. So we got 5 for Classic here and 2 for Curious. You actually voted for Curious here.
I did. I do think he's got a really good shot at it, and everything is on the line for him. This is his last chance for the year, again, to advance in Pro League.
For sure, guys. We're going to jump into game number 1 right now on Overgrowth. Down here in the bottom left, in the orange for SK Telecom T1, it is Classic.
And his opponent to the top right in purple for the Freaks, it is Curious. Historically, before StarTale moved into Pro League to replace some of the disbanding teams back in 2013, Curious was usually the anchor for StarTale in the GSTL. And before that, often the anchor for Incredible Miracle on the team he was on originally. So known for being coming out last, not first, but this is not the all-kill format. That happens tomorrow. Today, it's all about map choices. And so Curious's map choice here is Overgrowth. We'll see how he plays it here. Not going to be playing like Dark with a pool first.
It's kind of interesting you mentioned that about Curious, him kind of being that ace player, that anchor, because in round 3 we saw him come out as the ace a couple of times, and he was, he did very well for his team. He was very clutch on the ball, won both of the games I believe that he did play, and you can really say that about a lot of Afreeca's lineup as well, because even though SKT didn't have the greatest round 3, Afreeca had a fantastic round 3. They did amazingly. All their players stepped up. Literally everyone. Yep. You look at Alive, Patience came in, Super was winning games, Curious was holding it up as well. Even Bomber, These players really, really stepped it up. You could tell that they upped their practice regimen, or, maybe there was a mindset change in the house. Something happened that brought this team to the next level, and that's part of the reason why they're here in these playoffs.
Absolutely. And for me, I have to give Curious the MVP myself, although he's not the only one to have raised it to the next level. Now, Classic is going to bring back this 2 Adept opening here. We saw SOS do it a little bit in the GSL just recently. He's also going to deny this 3rd base, which is very frustrating to deal with, and may even decide to pylon block here. It would delay his 2nd Adept, and as a result, he will not do it.
He's thinking about it, but just going to stick around, make sure that it goes down. Gets to see the timing of that regardless, and can just send that pro back home.
So this is getting a little bit more popular right now, and I think it's a good map for it. This double Adept pressure, we're going to see the Overlord scout this, sees the timing of the Nexus. Doesn't see the 2nd gateway, but he should realistically know by the fact that the Nexus is at this point, and is going to confirm right now with that Overlord, sees the 2 Adepts. Even though Classic tries to hide them, he is spotted, and will respond accordingly. He's going to need a lot more Zerglings than normal. And sometimes it's good to even build a spine against this, depending on what the follow-up is.
Yeah, an interesting choice here by Classic. He gets seen, and he actually stops Adept production. He just makes 2. This is purely to, maybe get a little bit of damage to the drones, but also to try to force out a lot of units from the Zerg. And it seems like Curious is not really biting the bait. You see he starts a couple of extra drones here. I think he sees those gateways not working with his Overlord. He's like, oh, okay, you're delaying that. I don't need to do this. Now you see Classic actually coming in and taking a little bit of damage.
He does restart gateways after that momentary lull in production. And he's going to go right into the glaive. So this is the kind of build that SOS has already shown us. And other players as well, when this was kind of the go-to build early on in Legacy of the Void. Now normally what happens next is a big explosion of gateways as soon as he has enough probes to afford that. And it can be an all-in, it doesn't have to be. But with how fast these glaives are coming out, it most likely will be. There's nothing he could do to deny the Overlord scout. He doesn't even have a mothership core to overcharge to push it away. It's just going to get scouted pretty much no matter what.
Curious, even though he's going to get the full scout of the base and knows that there's no stalker to stop that Overlord, he's still going to commit to the Overlord speed. It's going to be good to get follow-up information regardless. And you do see that he sees the Twilight Council there, the extra gateway, getting all that information. He sees the 6 Adepts at the front with his other Overlord, and he immediately starts a Roach Warren here and needs to get that defense up against these Adepts.
Yeah, what's interesting too is the Roaches could actually hit before the push if he, if he can delay this, if he can, do ring run buys, for example. He has a lot of speedlings, so he could try to force these Adepts to be used defensively instead of aggressively. Initially here, he's making 14 more Lings. Looks like the Lings were not in position to turn these around, so they're just going to have to be used defensively. And the Roach Warren is coming up, a Dark Shrine for the follow-up here.
And look at where the robotics facility and the Dark Shrine are. I know you guys can't really see it, but on the mini-map, actually, no, the robotics facility is in the main. Okay, this is just the Dark Shrine that's behind those rocks near Classic's base that he's putting up here. So it's going to be hidden. Here comes the Adept Harass. Going to get a bit of drone kills and eventually get surrounded by these Lings.
Yeah, with the Glaives, he can be pretty efficient with those. Nice cancel on the Shade to save the Adepts. And because Curious scouted this, he's set up, he's defending. The Roaches that he has out now, he's upgrading them right now. He's getting +1. Nice scout here. I mean, he's pretty much set. He already has a lair on the way before he even scouted this, so he can just get an Overseer. And he's in a really good spot because he's going to have Roach speed and +1 as a nice follow-up. And Classic doesn't even have a 3rd base yet. And I really think these DTs are somehow going to have to find damage. And I'm not sure how that's really going to work. 2 Spores already on the way.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very difficult. You can also see that Classic stopped Pro production for quite a bit here. He's at 44, attempting to trade. He scouts the Spores, but he still is going to finish that Dark Shrine. And I guess he's just going to continue to pressure while he gets that 3rd base up. But as you said, not the earliest 3rd base in the world. It's going to be very difficult for him to get continuous damage here against the Zerg.
He's going to get that reconstitution now for his Roaches, so they're going to come across the map and reinforce very quickly. Killing any Adepts would be huge right now, and he's going to grab several here. The Shade's not going to finish in time to save the majority of these Adepts. Here comes the Warp Prism back, and a nice Shade saves a few of those there. But the Warp Prism in position for a DT drop. He may just simply skip it. Okay, he's not going to. He's going to commit to it. This is expensive. And unless Curious is out of position, this should find minimal damage because he's already set up defensively. But let's see how well Curious responds, because if he makes a mistake too, this could actually get Classic really good back into this game.
Yeah, this game is about to get a bit crazy because notice he still hasn't made any more probes. He's sitting on 44. It's a fake Nexus. Curious if he's looking at the amount of drones that are at the 3rd base, which is a total of 0. He may be able to scout this out, but you could tell that he is, just preparing more and more Roaches here for the defense. And Classic really is just going to try to find some timing here where he can kill Curious, but it's going to be very hard at this point.
It really, really is. But I do think this is really great. It's going to test Curious's multitasking, what he's doing here. The DTs can be saved using the Prism's pickup, which is what we're seeing here. He's just trying to harass them and then get out. The Queens really have to be careful in chasing this Prism nonstop. Looks like he finally does deal with that and deals with the Adepts at his 3rd. So finally, Curious is able to make a push across the map, and he's got reinforcing Roaches, 7 of them on the way. 3 more Overlords being made here. He can just keep cranking out Roaches as soon as he has the money and the Larva. And
they're
already
already
scary, man.
An incredible amount of Roaches on the map. He's up to 39, 5 more about to pop out. And Classic, he's got 2 Immortals and not much else.
He has a few DTs, but sniping the Overseer is basically impossible. I actually prefer this, what he's doing now, to try to use the DTs for harass, which is drawing some Roaches at home, which means the push isn't as strong as it could be if they were all there. So that Warp Prism is still valuable here. Look at all these Ravagers. He's going to try to target down pylons. They can't dodge the Biles. And this is a very terrifying push right now. Classic is in some serious trouble. The Mothership Core could be killed by Biles here as well.
Classic late on the defense. I don't think he saw this coming in, and now all these Ravagers and Roaches right on top of that Nexus. We're going to have to see some crazy micro here from Classic.
Oh, nice Biles there, doing some serious damage. And yes, there are a few Immortals here, but the Force Field's now being used against him as Curious comes forward here, sniping those sentries. DTs are here, but there are 2 Overseers. He has to recall to save his army. And this looks like the beginning of the end here in game number 1.
It's looking like it. Curious ready to push on in. Cybernetics Core is going to go down. Interesting placement on that as well. And as you said, he can just continue to siege with the Corrosive Biles, pick away at these buildings.
And I think this should essentially end the game. Curious can take a 4th base. He's getting a Hydralisk Den first. And yeah, Classic may survive this, maybe. Not even likely. But if he does...
Even with these units here at the front, but there are more and more popping out from Curious that are eventually going to reinforce.
He doesn't have a Cyber Core, so I mean, that's the real big issue here. The ranged units he has that you see on screen are the only ones he's going to have until that core is remade. And these gates up here at the front are unpowered, including the Robo is now unpowered, so he can't make any more Immortals. And this is just the
Lurker Den on the way now.
Yeah.
As these units, it looks like they're just going to be enough to clean up this game. The last of the Stalkers, Classic. He's trying his hardest. Warps in 6 Zealots that immediately get Corrosive Biled.
That's going to be game over here. Curious will take game number 1. And that is it. GG.
Curious taking a huge win here for the Afreeca Freaks. Great start for this team, as they do go up 1-0, taking out one of the big names on SK Telecom in Classic. And now it's Super versus Zone up next. I mean, Afreeca, they're going to get a ton of momentum in this series.
Absolutely. Right now, Zone, who does not have as much experience in televised matches as Super, has got to be feeling the pressure. I think most people would have expected that 1-0 lead going to Classic, so Zone plays with a 1-0 lead advantage. I was one of the people who said no, Curious will take this, and it's just overgrowth. That map speaks to me. Curious, I've been commentating this player for over 5 years now.
You're just like so in touch with Curious, you just know when he's going to win and lose.
I don't want to say, I don't want to go that far, but I do want to say that the SKT players have not been as great in these best of ones right now. Curious has carried this team on his back. I said that, and I'm going to say that sentence several more times, and perhaps for the rest of Grand Postseason if Afreeca advances here, because this is basically all him. And, you know, everyone else is helping him, but he is just getting such consistent results that he overshadows everything else on the team right now. I mean, this team might as well be called Afreeca Curious.
The Curiouses. Basically, I mean, this guy is doing so well, as you were saying. We're going to jump into Super versus Zone here, PvP, and talk a little bit more about Curious. Back in the back room, he was looking so excited. He didn't look one bit nervous. I think that's a big part of the reason why he is just so calm and collected coming into these games. He's just here, and he looks like he's having a ton of fun coming down to the studio, hanging out with his buddies on the team, even talking, you know, with Legend and, you know, some of the friends even come over and they just hang out. And he seemed in a great mood, and it kind of mirrored in his play. He played a great game.
It's a great time to be a Freaks fan, with the Afreeca Freaks actually outperforming everyone's expectations in LoL Champs as well here in Korea. And Afreeca, you know, basically acquiring GOM TV and running the GSL over there, doing great jobs, and the ASL coming back. I mean, it's a great time to be an Afreeca fan. Afreeca's doing great work for esports everywhere. So, I mean, this is like their grandest moment. StarTale made a you know, a playoff once before, not Grand Postseason, but a playoff where they actually were defeated by not being able to show up because a blizzard actually occurred.
Yes.
Yeah. So they couldn't actually show up to play their match. So this is kind of as good as it gets for this original roster that happened on StarTale, then became Spenu, and now is owned by Afreeca. So this is for some of these players their most amazing moment, their best opportunity to go to that grand, prestigious Pro League Grand Final. So really do just want to highlight that one more time. And I feel like Curious is so hungry right now.
Yeah.
He wants it.
All these players are. That's exactly what I was saying. You know, some mindset change happened in round 3 where they realized, like, oh, if we do really well this round, we can get into the postseason. And I mean, that's why they did get here. It was very, very close. If you guys remember, at the end of round 3, it came down to like the final match, and Afreeca just barely squeaked in because I think maybe it was CJ that didn't win, or some team didn't win.
Yeah, that's right.
Or MVP.
There was like a score that just did not allow them to get in. So, all right, let's take a look at these players, man.